to achieve business success. Today, I want to talk to you about wow, and not the wow that we're delivering to customers. I hope you're delivering wow to customers, but the wow that you have the opportunity to provide someone who is considering coming to work for you in your auto repair shop. Now, for some time, especially where technicians are concerned, it has been the technicians market or the employees market. There's a skills shortage, and the potential employee really knows that there are multiple opportunities that they can consider, yours being just one of them. And the same goes for those fighting it out for an experienced service advisor, and even some of the supervisory positions that you might have in your auto repair shop, like foreman or office manager, service manager, etc. It's even really hard to come by good bookkeepers. So I want to talk to you about that opportunity that you have of wowing someone during your recruitment process, because auto repair shops and the auto aftermarket, when you're in any part of the repair sector, traditionally there's not a lot of process in recruitment. Recruitment and the need to hire is often born out of an emergency. So your technician left, or your apprentice left, your person doing admin or service advising left, your bookkeeper moved on. So you immediately go to the internet to list a job somewhere, and you've missed out on a whole bunch of steps that you could have gone through in order to put the ideal ad together to find your ideal candidate who may go on to be your ideal new team member. Hi to those of you that are on here with me live. Make sure you say hi in the chat and let me know if you're watching this as a replay later on. So what I want you to ask yourselves as you listen to this video and watch this video is, what processes do you have in your recruitment process that would allow for somebody else to be impressed? Hey, Ruth, thanks for being on. So do you even have a process? Do you even have like a checklist of things that you're going through in a process so that you don't miss any steps and have the potential to either put the wrong person through to interview or offer them a job, or that might mean that an ideal candidate actually slips through the cracks in your process because a step was missed? So as I said at the start, there's often not a lot of process. Hello to you. Thank you for being on with me. There's often not a lot of process, and the need to hire someone is born out of an emergency. So if we put together a series of really simple steps, then when that emergency arises and we need to go to market quickly to find that next right hire for us, all we have to do is follow the process. We don't have to make it up as we go along. So I'm talking about things like making sure we don't miss putting things in our job ad that will help us filter out the types of candidates that we don't want to receive a resume and a cover letter from. Asking them to follow a simple instruction of adding a cover letter is often a way of weeding out the resumes that you just don't even want to be bothered to read. So making sure we've got something like that in. Making sure we don't skip over the step of doing a phone interview, a phone screening before we put someone through to an interview. Why waste our time bringing somebody in to interview them either one-on-one or in a group setting that we could have screened out at the phone interview stage? Catching somebody unawares often is with no pre-appointed time can often give you an insight into how somebody might deal with stress. You might catch them at an inopportune time, so how they react to needing to schedule something with you can often tell them, or tell you rather, how they might react in certain situations, particularly if they're going to be in service advising or some other customer facing role. we want to make sure that we reference check. This is the number one glossed over thing, because at the end of the day, there's this little voice in your head that says, you know what, if they were fired for doing something last time, I don't know if I want to know, because this person's looking really good and I really need someone. So people skip that step. And there's only really one question that you need to ask a previous employer, and that is, would you hire them again? And if they say yes, ask why. Find out the great stuff that person brought to that team. If they say no, ask why. You need to have an understanding of why that person didn't fit into that team or that culture, or was there an incident that led to them being ejected from that workplace? Following these steps means that you've got a tight process, and hopefully you end up with the right candidate that you can make an offer to. But there's an impression that all of these steps give off to the person who is interviewing with you, or who hopefully has an interview with you. And that's that you're professional and that you're taking the time to find out as much about them as you can, as opposed to that other person on the other side of town who's also hiring in a crisis moment, but they've put no thought into their recruitment process at all. So it's received your application, come in for an interview. And then the interview happens to be a stand-up thing on the workshop floor and a handshake that says, yep, okay, bring your toolbox over tomorrow and get started. And then they don't even have a uniform for them to get started with, okay? That's the unfortunately accepted impression of how things go. But you have the opportunity to change that and make somebody feel like you've got stuff sorted out in your workplace, making sure that, along the way, you're finding out what lights them up and how you can match what they're working towards in their personal life with what you can offer as part of your package. So if you follow the steps of a well thought out recruitment process of always having a template for an ad on standby, being crystal clear in your mind of what the values are of your business, and therefore being able to measure potential candidates against those, making sure that you do phone interviews, making sure that you've got all the hiring documents ready to go when it is time to make somebody an offer, making sure you've got uniforms on standby, making sure that you've got time set out for interviews, whether they're group interviews or one-on-one interviews, and making sure that you've got time to onboard them properly. Because it's one thing to be able to make an offer and have a candidate accept and start them. It's another thing to be able to retain them beyond their probationary period. And for the ones that you want to retain beyond probation, it's really, really important that they recognize that there's a framework there to support them inside their employment in your auto repair shop. So ask yourself, where's my recruitment process at? Do I have one? Is it visible? If I wasn't doing the recruitment process, could somebody else in my team do it? Is there a checklist to follow? Are there parts of the process that I can delegate? Are we making sure that we're tight on our timeframes? If we say we'll be back to somebody within 24 hours, are we doing that? Speed of hiring is key in this market. So once you know that you've got your ideal person and you're making them an offer, then get back to them in a really tight time frame, because they will likely be entertaining multiple offers. So have a think about those things. Let me know in the comments how you feel about your current recruitment process, and I'll catch up with you guys again soon.